This practice is a natural rest practice based on Scott Kiloby's natural rest. It really involves, like many other meditations, it involves being present for whatever it is that's arising and noticing the space around what's arising and noticing the space in which it's arising. So as we're starting, you can close your eyes. If you're lying on the floor, that's fine. If you're sitting up, that's fine. Let's see if you can allow your body to be comfortable. Begin by noticing the environment around your body. Notice that you're in a room, that there's space all around your body. If you think about the space above your head, that it goes up through empty space to the ceiling, and then might be other floors or might just be directly up into the sky. And below your feet, you're supported by the floor, and below the floor there's some other space, and then into the earth. That our bodies are supported by the earth. And also that there's space all around your body. There's space between the front of your body and the screen, the monitor. There's space to each side, space behind you. In some of that space, there's the chair or whatever furniture that you're on. And some of it is empty space. And some of that space has your body. So in the space on the outside of the body, there might be sounds. There's the sound of my voice coming into your ears. There might be a sound outside or the sound of your refrigerator. There could be other sounds that you're either aware of or not aware of. And the air outside of your body has a temperature. And even with the eyes closed, we have a mental picture of what's in front of us, what's behind us, of the space where we're situated. And then bring your attention into the space of where your body is occupying. So from head to toes, there's this experience of your body is situated in this certain space. We often have a mental image of our body in space. Sometimes it's a black shape in a white light, a white shape in a black light, but often we have kind of a shadowy image of the shape of our body when we bring our attention to how it is that we're sitting. And that works differently for everyone. Some people will have that, some will have like a snapshot, some will be more focused on the sensations. So we know how our body is in contact with the environment by the sensations partly. So if you're sitting in a chair, there will be that sensation of pressure on your seat, the back of the thighs, up through your back. If you're lying stretched out on something, you'll have a experience of pressure all through the whole back of your body. We can feel the clothes on our bodies as well, and the air on the skin. So we begin this natural rest practice really by looking into the space all around us and the space that our bodies are occupying and noticing all of the perception information that comes in. If your hands are resting on your body, there will be a different temperature and a different texture than if they're resting on a desk. Notice now the interaction of the space right in front of your face, right in front of your nose, how when you breathe in, some of the air from that space comes into your body. When you breathe out, some of the air from your body goes back out into that space. We can notice the coolness of the in-breath, and even notice where it is in your body that you stop being able to notice the in-breath. So when we can tune in there, we can often see that we can feel the cooler air coming in through the nose, over the membranes of the nose, and down into the throat. And at some point, the air is warm enough that we don't feel it anymore. We know that it goes into the lungs, but we may not be able to feel the flow of the breath as it goes into the lungs. And on the way out, when we're exhaling, we can't feel it quite as soon. So paying this kind of precise attention to some of the perception information that's coming in. And with the breath, of course, we can always notice the pattern and the rhythm of the breath. A more relaxed breathing will be slower and smoother, more continuous, so that when you come to the end of the exhale, you're smoothly moving into the inhale. At the end of the inhale, letting the breath go into the exhale. And as you're noticing this experience of watching the breath and of being aware of your body from head to toes, and that space around your body and the space inside your body, we're also noticing that all of this content information, the perception information, the watching of the breath, that it's all happening in this physical space. And it's also happening in the space of our awareness. That with everything that can be observed and that changes, that there's also something that doesn't change. And we could look on it as a screen with content, that the content coming across the screen doesn't change the screen. So tuning in for a moment to that which doesn't change. To that which is aware of the whole of the space and of what is arising in the space. Notice who or what it is, that sense of I'm experiencing, watching the breath. So with something like a body sensation or watching the breath or practice like that, it's a little bit easier to see that there's something here that's observing the breath. That there's this space in which that awareness is there, that witnessing is happening. And that can be a little bit more difficult as we move into thought and body sensation. Sometimes we get a little bit more wrapped up in the content. It has a lot more of a hook. So we'll keep touching back into this space in which this is arising. Noticing that there's something here that doesn't change. So bring your attention now to the space in the head area. So there's the space all around, just above your head, behind your head, to the ears at the side. There could be sounds coming in through the ears, and then there's the experience of your face. So notice as you bring your attention to your face, you might soften the eyebrows and the forehead, the corners of the eyes, the mouth, the jaw, the neck. And as you're paying attention to that space on the inside of your head, notice that behind your forehead and behind your eyes, there's often a sense of this is where thought arises. This is where images are seen from. And without making thought right or wrong or anything in the content right or wrong, really just looking to see that thought arises. We don't really call up thought, it just appears. And once a thought has arisen, we can be aware that we're noticing a thought. Thoughts come as words. Sometimes we're noticing words. They're not exactly verbal in the mind, but they kind of show up in the mind. They just kind of pop up in there. And also thoughts come as images. So if we're looking at the word tree, if I say the word tree, an image will come up with it. If I say lemon tree, the image might be a bit different, and we might be even focusing in on the yellowness of a lemon, or remembering what it feels like in our body and the taste of fresh lemonade on a warm day. So the mind has this meaning-making mechanism. If a thought comes in that has an emotional trigger on it, oftentimes there will be images, but more often as well there will be a sensation that's triggered in the body. And some thoughts come quite rapidly and all tied up together in a train of thought. And with other thoughts, we can see there's a bit of a gap. We're just kind of sitting with that gap. And instead of going on to another thought, just sit with the gap for a moment. And notice when another thought comes in. Notice that you're watching or looking at thought. Thought that comes in as words and images. Some thoughts have sensation responses in our body. Other thoughts are kind of neutral. And rest for a moment, noticing this process of thought, and that you're watching as thought arrives, as you respond or don't respond. But our experience in the thought field changes all the time. There's new thought content coming in. The speed and the rhythm of it changes. Sometimes it's quite still. Sometimes there's a lot of activity. And bring your attention down into the rest of your body now as well. Noticing if there's any energy or sensation. Very common to have energy through the jaw, through the throat. If you come into that space that's protected by the rib cage, very common to have sensation in that area. We're down into the stomach, solar plexus, the navel center, lower belly. So notice what your experience is there right at this moment. And as you're paying attention to what's present there, it could be an energy, a sensation. Oftentimes feelings come with descriptions, like it feels like it's a black hole, or it feels like it's warm and pulsing, or there's all kinds of different experiences we can have with sensation. We can also notice that some sensations are welcome, some are not. Some are kind of neutral. So being aware of this space that your body is occupying, and being aware of the content that comes and goes in the space. And being aware of the space, the awareness, what it is that doesn't change. And rest with that experience. Noticing that sometimes we resist what's in our space. Sometimes we do that by the mind wanders off. We might have some kind of contraction come in. There's all kinds of ways that we respond and react to what comes into our space. So with natural rest, we're not trying to change anything or get rid of anything. We're simply observing the space and what comes into the space, including any reactions that we may have. It's very helpful to take moments throughout the day to tune into the space that your body is in, and what it is that's happening during the day several times, to just tune into the space. Notice the space, notice the content. It can be something specific like noticing thought. Notice when a thought comes in, how it arrives. Take a moment in that gap before another thought arrives, if you can. And if that generates a whole train of thought, notice that and then come back to the gap. Notice that words come in with images. Sometimes they're like a still image, sometimes it's a video clip. Often we respond with a sensation or a contraction or a feeling in our body to thought. And that we're also noticing our physical body, we're noticing the breath and the rhythm of the breath. And we're noticing that which never changes. That which isn't affected by the content that comes and goes. And when you're ready, open your eyes.